Hi, team. I can't hear you, Robin. Can anybody hear Robin?
She was holding up her phone like maybe she's on a call.
Oh. Hi, Shannon. We got Shannon. We got Amy. Hi, Amy. So good to see your beautiful face. Hi, Latia. Love your curly hair. It's so cute. Love. Oh, there's Alicia. There's Kristen. Hi, Kristen. Yay, Kristen's in our space today. I'm so excited. There's Jacqueline. Oh my gosh, this is like my favorite thing in the whole world. It's my favorite. We got Nancy. Hey, Shannon. Thank you for coming on video. I love it when people come on video. Makes me so happy.
It just makes me sad that we can't see all of their faces at once. Like there's like 2 pages.
I
Hopefully
know
we'll get more pages, but
I'm doing the toggle over here, but at least like I can see the participant list, so that's good. All right,
love
there's
that.
Ashley. We got all our people coming on today. All right, did Robin get her audio fixed? Or are we still missing Robin? The
I'm not
fearless.
seeing her.
Oh, she must have popped on.
Um, hey, does anyone know where the questions are? Did people pre-submit questions for today?
I don't think so.
Someone else's mic is off besides mine, or is it just mine? If I can hear an echo.
Heather.
Oh.
I will text the all-knowing Heather. Find out. This is what happens when you have an awesome team. You're like, hold on, let me text the technical support.
Missy, your sound sounds like echoey. I thought maybe it was mine, like it was echoing. So
Yeah.
I muted myself, but then you were still talking and it was still echoing. Is mine echoing?
No,
Hmm. Oh, that's better.
I muted and then came back off. Is that better?
Yes.
Okay.
It just made you sound like you had this like trailing like
Oh, that's not
echo, echo.
nice. Cute. Okay. So should we kick this thing off? We'll just like Robin's just gonna make her grand entrance here. Okay. We are celebrating 100 members in Circle. Okay. This is a big deal because y'all made the jump from crazy Facebook land over here to our Circle. And if you've been in our space at all, you know how we love to talk about Sacred Circle. Okay, there's Robin. Let's see. Did she? There's Robin. Um, so Robin, feel free to take over if you want. But we're so grateful that you all made the jump to Circle, and we really want to build and that is our intention. So here we are doing our live coaching call. Robin, do you want to take over?
I hope so. Can you hear me? I've been like frantically running around my house trying to find my stinking earpods. They were like making my computer go in and out and in and out. I didn't find them, but I like had to get in my computer and be like, unconnect from everything you've ever connected to. So welcome to the Elevated Mother, where we roll with the punches. Thank you, Missy, for starting the call. I was like running around the house. I'm like, where's my earbuds? And I didn't find them. So here we are. I'm really, really excited to have you guys here. I don't know what Missy already said. I was double checking on my phone to see if we had everybody in for the drawing. And because we're doing that drawing as a, right? Did you already tell us they're doing the drawing for the one-on-one? Oh, okay. What has already been said? So we're doing a drawing for a free full one-on-one session with one of the coaches on our team. And that's pretty amazing. Like, I remember getting into circles and being like, oh, if I could just have one-on-one with this person, like, and just dig in. And a lot of one-on-ones with professionals, as you guys are aware, it's an investment of, not junk change. Like, and we're no different. We are highly specialized coaches. And so this one-on-one giveaway is really a high value. And we're like, hey, when we hit 100 members in this new platform, what are we going to do to celebrate? We're like, let's give that away. Let's give that away. So we're really excited to get to know somebody super well, help you on your way. We're really good at what we do. We are really good at what we do. We help women change all the time in ways that they have dreamt of and just haven't been successful with in many realms. So if you're new to our space, we welcome you. We're so happy to have you here. This is our free Q&A every month. I'm Robin Whitworth, the CEO. Use the chat. Feel free to engage fully. If you have something that you want to be coached on, put a 1 in the chat, and then we know who to go to next type thing. We haven't had any pre-submitted questions that I'm aware of. Is this true? Okay. Let me just point out my team. We'll wait for those of you that are on the call. We will wait for you to put a 1 in the chat. So if you have something to be coached on, a question, anything, put a 1 in the chat. My team that is here is Missy Reber and Cherie Carlisle and Christy Garcia, Megan Heward, and Heather Shoemaker. I'm like looking at all the names, hoping I have everybody here. This is our team. These are the people that are the magic makers, as they said in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. These are our ladies that keep everything moving and rolling. It's really, really exciting. If you've been a client of ours, go ahead and wave your hand. If you're a current client, if you've been a client, you know the value and why you're here. All this month, we've been talking about choosing. We talked about choosing love. We talked about choosing peace. We talked about choosing faith. We talked about choosing abundance and how that's all within our choice. I make a lot of very bold posts on my personal social media about this, about agency and about choice. And I had a beautiful conversation. My parents are actually at my house today. I didn't know they would be. And I had a beautiful conversation with my mother this morning about that, about choices and about the different choices our kids might make and what that can feel personally if we've really identified with the choices of our children. Like, it can feel heavy. It can feel hard. It can feel really big. And we got to have a beautiful discussion about her progression and evolution and those types of thoughts and ideas, having a large family. I come from a family of 12. And, you're going to get different values and different things. And going through these 4 classes this month about choice has reminded me beautifully about my choice in how do I think about my children? How do I think about my parents? How do I think about my faith, my peace, my marriage, the love that I have in my life? All of the things that God does not negate agency. So whatever's happening, I'm somehow the vehicle to getting into the energies, the choices, different things. And that's been it's interesting because initially it can feel big and hard. That can feel so heavy to be like, wait, I chose myself into something. But then it was empowering to also look at the opposite and say, then I can choose myself out. I can choose different. I can choose a different type of marriage. I can choose a different type of relationship with my child. I can choose a different relationship with God and myself and money. It all of a sudden became so liberating that I really personally identified with the scripture when Jesus is like, my peace I give unto you, but it's not as the world is going to give it. And I felt that peace in my life. And I was like, this is freedom. This is peace. But I was still in my life. But because I had accepted the idea of choice and empowerment, I was like, oh, let's just take this one day at a time. And then I remembered the scripture that Jesus is like, yeah, milk before meat, line upon line. That's how it's done. And I was like, oh, wow, I can do this. So I'm really, really, really passionate about helping women reclaim their choice and agency to literally create whatever life they want, whatever marriage they want, whatever financial situation they want, whatever faith level they want. It's possible. And my team knows it. My team is like, yeah. Amy Harrison, come on. Tell us what you got, girl.
Okay. So when you were talking about choices, and then I've read your recent posts about choices and different things. And so my question is, because especially when I think it was when you were talking about how you've chosen like your money level in your business, and like you consistently choose what's going to keep happening. And then you were talking about, so like just choose a different financial situation. So my thought and question is like, if I make a choice in my mind, like I choose to no longer be in scarcity, then I feel like there's this, okay, where's my money? Or like, where's the like, okay, I made the choice. Like, okay, like it doesn't seem like it can be that simple. And I know like there's a works part of it too, but it's just like, okay, I made the choice. So now what? Like there's the brain choice. And then it's like, I think particularly with money, I struggle to then, how does it become more than the choice? Or like, what does it look like after that? So that's my question.
Yes. Is that not the question of the ages when it comes to agency, right? Like, can I really do that? What does that look like? And I would like my team to be the ones that come off and discuss this. But if there are people, those of you that are here on the call, if you have an idea, a suggestion, a book, insight, please put it in the chat. The chat is invaluable. We want the collective wisdom there in the chat. But when we're coaching on questions, I'd like it to be my team. So just be aware, we would love all of your input. If you're like, oh, I have something I want to share with Amy, put it in the chat for us. So team members, who's got something on fire? They're like, I want to say this to this.
I got it. I'll jump in. So what you're talking about, Amy, is creation, right? Creation of your dream, of your vision, of your life, of your goals, right? And agency, making a choice of what you want to create. That's the first step. That's the match that's going to ignite this beautiful fire. But to sustain the fire, we get to sit in our hope. We get to act in faith. We get to nurture that desire with love. And true partnership with God, it's not, oh, okay, I have to make a list of everything that I have to do. And I think we talked about this on one of the previous calls, Amy. It's not that I have to do everything and then he'll just fill in the gaps If I'm just like 2 meters short of the gap, he'll fill it in. It's every day saying, okay, what is the belief that I get to hold, that I'm moving towards? You know, you're moving from scarcity thoughts and patterns into abundance. Okay, what are the thoughts that I get to change and I get to hold? And then partnering with God to say, okay, what's the action today that will help move me forward? Instead of me making a list and be like, I'm frantically checking it off. Why don't I have my money yet? We're inviting God in our creation process because he is the master creator and he wants us to be able to create like he is. So that was just my burning thought for you, Amy.
Love it.
Cherie, you want to go?
You can go. It's okay.
Okay. I love what Christy pointed out, that we can make a choice, but then we create, right? We are creators, especially as women. We are born creators. So when you've been living in a scarcity mindset for so long, you look through the lens of scarcity. So your choice is actually choosing to look at life through a different lens. So you're like, I'm going to challenge you, Amy, that when you're like, okay, where's my money? Like, where is it? Where is my abundance? Like, I want you to shift it and say, release the how and start to look at your life and recognize the abundance you already have. Because when we've been in a lack mindset, we just see more of lack. But when you're choosing out of that mindset, you have to choose that pattern in everything that you see. So, like, start making an abundance list for yourself. Get up every day and be like, I choose to believe that everything I want is available to me. And I'm going to look for the pattern of abundance showing up in my life. And I know you, Amy. And I know you actually are an abundant creator in that you do the clothing swap. I know you. I see you. Like, I know you're a creator of abundance in your community. So believe that about yourself. Be like, dude, I am an abundance creator powerhouse over here. Breathe that down into your body and wake up every day. Be like, yep, I'm an abundance creator powerhouse. That is my destiny. That is who I am as a woman. And start to and just question yourself. So I love the scripture where the man comes for healing to Jesus and Jesus says, do you believe you can be healed? And he like has this moment of like, no. And what does he say? He says, help thou my unbelief. And for there's a book that I read, the money book. It's called Rich as F. So forgive the swear word, but it has so many of these concepts that are so beautiful. And she talks about this concept in a different way, not a scriptural way, but just the idea of choosing over and over again, even in the face of what you're not receiving. So when you're like, well, my money is not here, right? That's when you say, okay, my money is not here today, but I am an abundance creator, like powerhouse. I know that it exists. So what am I like Christy was saying, what am I going to choose to see today? And it's choosing to see it, right? And so I just had an experience with this in my own life where I'm like, oh my gosh, look at how all this money showed up for me and out of nowhere. And I like, we inherited some money from my husband's grandmother. We like all the school lunches at school this year are paid. Like all of these things showed up for me line after line after line. And I was like, I could have just brushed it off. Right. But I was like, oh, wow, look at all this showing up for me. Right. So really stop judging yourself for being like, I'm still panicked. I made my choice. Now, why don't I feel better? It's choosing to feel like that abundance creator every day and choosing to see it in everything shows up for you. Right? That like you go to the store and you're like, you need to buy pork chops and pork chops are on sale. Right? Like choose in that moment belief. And then all you're going to see is abundance. Because if we're in lack mentality, all we're going to see is lack. We're always going to see that. So if you're still seeing that, you're choosing to see that. So don't judge yourself. Flip the switch, breathe it into your body. Be like, nope, I am an abundance creator, like powerhouse. I'm showing up at the grocery store like that today. Everything's going to be on sale. I'm going to get a parking spot, and it will start shifting, but you have to be willing to see it. It's just what Jesus says. You have to have eyes to see, ears to hear, right? And a heart to receive, right? We get to have a new heart given to us by God that's going to allow us to actually receive that when it comes in God's way. And I cannot wait to see what happens. Because I know you got it in you. All right, Cherie, did you have something?
Yeah, but it kind of falls along the same line, so I won't take up a lot of time. But Amy, I would love to know, what is it specifically that you're seeking? Like, is it money specifically? Like, are you getting very clear, like this, it's money specifically, like to pay my bills? Yeah. So I love what Missy said, creating the abundance like list of things that you are abundant in, because I've gotten really clear on my money story the last, I don't know, 4 months. And I don't necessarily love what I see, right? And so but that's because I've kind of been like, oh, I'm living in faith over here. But really, I was just kind of like turning a blind eye. I don't know what was really going on. And so but then as I've sat with it and really dug into like abundance as a whole, and looking at the affirmations that I say about prosperity and richness, like that's all encompassing in my life. So just sharing with you my personal experience over the last 4 months is digging deep to find where the root cause, like the money story. What is Amy's money story? What's going on with Amy's money story? Are you frustrated because your husband is not able to provide what you want? Like, is there some resentment, anger, frustration there? Like, does that make sense? So getting clear and on what your money story is, what you're seeking, because if you're looking just outside of yourself to find the answers, what does that mean? Can you turn back inward and go, okay, can I seek it from myself first? Right? We all know here in this space that have been part of our team and part of our program is it starts with you. So getting really clear on what you want and how you like, and letting go of the how, and just getting really clear. Okay, this is what I'm willing to do. And this is what I'm open to receiving, because it really is receiving. It's like sometimes just turning on a receiver flip of a switch. Like it's just the right little, okay, the right healing moment, the right being in the right place at the right time. And Amy, I know that you, throughout this time that we've known each other, how much abundance has shown up for you. It just may not look exactly how you want it to. And I get it. And I've been there. And I just wanted to let you know I'm holding space for you, because you, like Missy pointed out, you are a powerhouse creator. And I know whatever's coming next for you is going to be amazing.
Thanks, you guys. I think it is specifically in the money. So I appreciate the invitation to really look at my money story, because I feel like I see the abundance in all the things I've brought in the past month, a free beach cruiser bike for myself that I've always wanted, and a giant swing set for free in my backyard, like so many things. And then I'm like, where's the numbers in my bank account? Like, where's that part of it? And so I think there's definitely really honest and looking at that.
I'm guilty. I'm guilty of that too. Like feeling like I'm not a success if I don't bring X amount of dollars in every month, right? But then Robin reminds me when I get stuck in that story of like, well, I'm not like super successful in blah, blah, blah. She's like, Cherie, that's because the dollar signs may not be there, but like, look at the impact that you're having. Like, spread your like view of all the things. So I love that you're like, no, I am seeing the abundance, but I want the dollar signs. But that's not how necessarily abundance works in my experience. Now that could be different for everyone else. So, but that's been my experience. So, and I think you and I have similarities in that regard. So I'll let Robin speak now.
Megan, do you have any thoughts?
I feel like I reflect a lot of what the other coaches were saying. And so I just think there's so much value there. Something that came to my mind is belief and working through worthiness. I think that's been the root of a lot of things that I've worked through. And I'm still working through this abundance piece for myself. And, you know, I've been in the EMX program for quite a while. And I think it's just a process too. Like, as you continue to do that and you're bringing in the abundance with the things you already are, I think, you know, eventually as you tap into maybe feeling more worthy or knowing your worth around what you truly want, like maybe the numbers will be there. You know, we don't always, like, sometimes I think it's in the journey. Like, maybe we're having to practice a little bit different faith because the numbers aren't there. Maybe it's helping you like dig deeper with like what Sheree was saying, like the root cause, like what is the core thing there, right? So maybe I'm just going to encourage you to like dig a little deeper and maybe even just explore and get curious with like where you're at in your worthiness with your vision for your life.
So good. And Heather Shoemaker, it's so interesting, Amy, because Heather Shoemaker, I think, asked that question for like 4 years of our friendship. Like, I know abundance is there. I know that I just know it. I feel it. But yet I look at the physical evidence and I don't see how. So that makes my faith waver. Anybody? I mean, this is a principle that can transfer across to all things. Like, I believe it. And I actually feel like maybe I'm worthy, but when I look at the physical evidence, my faith wavers. It's like I can't make it make sense. What? So Heather has put some really beautiful questions in the chat. If you haven't seen them, I know you had trouble looking at the chat before. Have you been able to see the chat today? Like, if you can't see those, we got to make sure and copy them for Amy. Yes, friends, we go to those links. If you like can't see something, like, we will copy and make sure you get what you need. But she's put some really beautiful questions in there. Like, why is a certain number important to you? And what really is this money if it is there? Man, this is so good. So you've got some good pieces. Yes. Shannon, what do you got for us?
Hi, friends. I just want to, as a side, I tried to post the other day twice, and I don't know why they didn't post, but as far as like wins, so things are looking up. My question is, I mentioned my daughter about the job thing. Bree, she's 16, and yesterday, it's the first week of school. Yesterday, she's texting me, and this saga has been happening off and on since COVID, basically. Like, I pulled her to be home for a year. That was a disaster because I was like a new nurse and not the homeschool parent I intended to be. Anyway, so she struggled with school and anxiety and stuff. She's never been diagnosed necessarily with anxiety, but she's like, Mom, she told me, she's like, I have misophonia. And I'm like, dear Google, what is that? And it's like, she hates sound. And I knew that. She like can't stand people chewing or being super loud. It makes her like super angry. But she said she felt anxious. She wanted to throw up. And I can't count how many times she's told me she's nauseous at school. I even went to links, like, out of complete desperation. We have a medication that is supposed to help with nausea by slowing down your digestive system, which is not good for you, but I was desperate. And I just want to find or brainstorm ways on how to support her. Today, I literally was like, I want to get you a worry rock. And she's like, what? And I'm like, it's just something that like you can feel. Because I told her yesterday, just think about what can you, well, not here because that's annoying her, but like, what do you see? Take deep breaths. What can you touch? That kind of thing. I literally gave her 2 marbles and I'm like, here's your worry marbles. And then we laughed when she dropped them out the door because I'm like, you lost your marbles, Bree. Haha. Anyway, it's so silly, but I'm like literally reaching for tangible stuff at the moment. But I will say really fast that the thought I had on my own is that like I do not share my beliefs and my faith with my own children. And I think it's like I'm definitely on a journey of vulnerability. And that is the number one reason why, is because it is so vulnerable to express those things. And that's something, she doesn't go to church. She hasn't been for a few years. Like she doesn't have interest, but she asked me recently, like something about the pre-earth life experience. She's like, where did we live before? I'm like, whoa. Okay, anyway. So I need to share my faith and have that as an option. Like maybe let's pray together, which to me feels so vulnerable. But I'm open to other suggestions because I feel like she needs supports. She's not on medication for ADHD. Medications help my anxiety big time. But I know there's a lot of mind work but it's hard. It's not me. So I don't know. I don't know what to do. And my husband's totally lost. Go, Cherie.
Okay. So Shannon, what do you do when you feel anxious or stressed or like that sick to your stomach feeling? Okay. So my main mission here in this space is to help women come to themselves and learn the skills that then they can teach to their kids, right? So like getting her obsidian like absorbs negative energy. So obsidian, and it sounds okay. So I've been learning a lot about the different chakras. So the yellow chakra right here is called the solar plexus, and it's your identity piece. But that's like your stomach area. So it's like your stomach, your intestine, like your digestive tract, all of that. So if she feels sick to her stomach a lot, it's because she's trying to figure out who she is, right? Which as a teenager, that's totally normal.
Right.
Am I echoing? Or is it just me again? It's
No.
like this fuzzy echo. Okay, it's just me. Okay. But so even getting something yellow, like I'm trying to think, citrine is yellow, honeycomb calcite is yellow, which is really common in Utah. You can find pretty cheap. I'm like, I have a bookend that my dad made for my mom in my office. But something like that might be helpful if you're looking for rocks, if you're looking specifically for gems that might assist. But as teens, we're trying to establish that like identity, right? And we're fearful because we're absorbing everyone else's, and I would guess she's probably empathic if she's struggling with sound specifically.
Right. And she really does like sensory stuff. So it's interesting that there's that paradigm.
So I have several videos of like learning to express your emotions are your superpower, how to avoid mommy meltdowns, that all talk through things like grounding and breath work and tapping, and like learn these skills for yourself, and then you can teach them to her. And I would gather that it would likely assist you in your path too, because our kids a lot of times are absorbing the energy in our homes. They're absorbing our energy, and they're seeing that, and they're trying to figure out life. So start with you.
I honestly think, and I think I might have said something that I wonder if the way that she is, which is to me very atypical, is from childhood trauma, honestly, which is just basically Rob and I fighting. And it sucks to say, but she was a completely typical or normal child before nursing school and COVID. So I wonder if there's a lot of healing to be done. So
Missy, did you want to jump in?
I would love to. Oh, am I echoey too?
you're not to me.
Okay. So Shannon, I relate to this so much on all sides. I was the anxious teenager, very anxious teenager. But the most important piece I want to pull out of this that I can see. So you just said, I think she was fine until COVID and I went to nursing school. that's your fear coming out, that what she's experiencing is your fault. So this mom guilt that we feel, this fear of like, oh my gosh, I screwed up my kids. I taught a class on this. It's old. Go back into the EMC and I'll find it, but it's like getting over the fear that you're screwing up your kids. But I love that you're here, because and you're like, oh, praying with her feels vulnerable. So Cherie's bringing forth this identity piece, but it's actually yours as well. And if I've learned anything, and what our mission is here, is that as we heal ourselves, we heal our children, and taking responsibility for that, but also believing. I had a lot of perfectionism, and I judged myself a lot for how I parented. And I literally lived in paralyzing fear that I was screwing up my kids all the time. And when we're parenting from our own fear and our own vulnerability, you're like, I'm figuring out my faith. She's not going to church. So do you see the correlation here, where you're basically judging yourself for your faith transition, and you're seeing it play out in her life, and you're owning it for her. So those are interlinked. So I would say, apparently I say this a lot lately, get into your own body. I'm like, I can hear myself. I'm like, man, I say this too a lot, because I've been that anxious person my whole life. And when I have learned to get into my own body, so this is you, Shannon, get into your body, breathe, and go to God however you can right now. However you can. Like, even if, like the scripture I shared, help thou my unbelief. Even if you're like, I don't even know if I believe in God, that's okay. It's good enough. Okay. Sit in there and say, what do I believe about myself, my daughter, and God? What can I tell my daughter that feels true to me right now? And I believe that God is a God of pursuit, that no matter where we are, God is weaving our journey, right? And wants to be with us all the time. That's a truth that I have carried through my faith changes. And that feels true to me. So helping your daughter and sharing with her something that feels anchoring for you right now in your faith is going to connect this piece and heal this piece where you're like, it's my fault that she's anxious. And I challenge you to sit with these questions. Like, challenge that thought that you're responsible for how your kids turn out. God knew that he gave those kids to you. God knew he was sending those children to a human mother. Okay. You are allowed to be human. And the vulnerable piece for me that I have learned, like I have a daughter who's a freshman in college, and she literally was so anxious. Same thing. She didn't leave her room when she was a teen. She finally went to high school. Her junior year, she cried every single day, the entire year. It was so hard. And now she's a freshman. And you know what? The one thing I taught her, and I was taking apart my faith at the same time. So I literally know exactly what you're dealing with. And the best thing I did was just share what I knew to be true, that I could feel in my body. Anchor yourself. So if all you can say is, honey, here are two things I know. God loves you no matter what. If that feels true to you, share that. You don't have to pray. You can just put your hands on your daughter's face and the spirit will just come out of your body. Okay. So you don't throw out what you think it's supposed to look like with interacting with spirit with your kid. Just being present with your daughter is spirit enough. Okay. You don't throw out the religious mold and just be with her, and whatever feels true to you and loving to you, share that. And then it was funny. I don't know if you saw it. You were like, I want to get a worry rock. And I'm like, okay, literally everybody hold him back up. I'm holding one. Cherie's holding one. Robin's holding one. Because here's the thing. If your daughter is a highly sensitive child, she's probably actually highly spiritual too. So the fact that she's questioning is not scary or bad. This was me too. I think probably most everybody in here. So does that feel true to you, Shannon? Is she a highly sensitive child? I can't hear you, Shannon. Are you there now?
Oh, I'm here.
There you go. Does that feel true to
It went
you?
on mute. Yes, she was the kid that used to ask deep, deep questions all the time. And so I'm not surprised at all. Like I mean, when you think, obviously our kids are amazing, but when I think about who she really is, I need to focus on that instead of like whatever's happening in this world. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
I need to refocus on that.
So if she's having like sensory things and she's very anxious, she's a highly spiritual child. And highly spiritual children, I was that my whole life, and nobody helped me. But teaching her to trust herself and trust God, whatever that feels like to her right now, is going to change her. The best thing you can do is say, it's okay to question and to not know the answers, but this is what I do know, is that God talks to you. God loves you. God is with you all the time. This is what I teach my kids. You couldn't rip Jesus out of your body like you could rip me as your mother out of your DNA. It's impossible. You can't. Can you do that? Could you take me out of your DNA? Well, it's same with God. That's how I explained it to them. And for an anxious child, teenager, they can understand that concept. And so find something, like I started picking up heart rocks, and like everybody has them. It's so funny. But like that to me was when I started to pick those up, my kids, I have literally hundreds because my kids now bring them to me. But to me, that was evidence that God was showing up in my life no matter what. And it grounded me into my belief in myself and my belief in my worthiness. And so tell her the truth, Shannon. Tell her it's okay to question your faith and not know how to connect. But your body is already connected. You can't disconnect yourself from God if you tried. So trust that, if that's all you can trust, and then giving her something like a heart rock that she can be like, look, this is your representation. Heart rocks are everywhere. So like when you need to like when your sound is overwhelming and you need to get back into your body, just carry it in your thing and just be like, nope, I got Jesus all the time. I also have little tiny mini Jesuses and I put them everywhere. I put them in my kids' backpacks. They think I'm so annoying. But it's like a joke, but for me, it's a physical reminder of this idea, right? So even just being like, I don't even care if you believe in Jesus, but here you go, I do. And he's going to ride in your backpack and your daughter will laugh and probably roll her eyes. But you telling her, I love you no matter what. God loves you no matter what. Trust your body no matter what. And then give her like the physical rock or something that like tapping is really good. Teaching her that, just the simple, like bringing yourself back into your body and teaching a girl that she can trust her body is probably the most important skill for any mother to teach her daughters, because that's where the spirit lives. So bringing her back to her body, be like, your body is not betraying you because you're overstimulated. Your body is not betraying you because you feel anxious. Your body is sensitive to the spirit. That is not bad. It's actually a gift. You're gifted. Lean in instead of, she's judging herself for it. Right? She's like looking for a reason to say, oh, I have this. She's Googling her symptoms. Okay. This is characteristic of teenagers right now. So teach her what she is. You are a highly spiritual being. Throw church out of it and just tell her like it is. You're a highly spiritual being. You are loved. There's nothing you can do to change that. Anchor her in those truths. And guess what? Anchor yourself there. If you're spiritually questioning, what do you know to be true? What feels true deep inside your body, Shannon? Teach your daughter that. Hold her face and say, I don't know much, but I know this. And your body can be trusted because the spirit lives there. And even like for anxiety, like I mean, there's so many skills, but the simple tapping skill, or I like this one for school of the touching of your fingers, because she can do that and it brings you back into your body. Be like, nope, I can trust my body. I'm okay. I am safe in my body. And teach her that her sensitivity is not a problem. It's a God-given gift, and God's got something cool for her to do in this life. Teach her that now. If I could go back to myself at her age, I wish somebody would have taught me that and told me, you don't have to prove anything. You don't have to hustle for your worthiness. God is like pouring into you. You're highly sensitive because God is already talking to you. Trust it. That will change her life and yours. Because I want to bet that you're probably highly sensitive too. And you've just never allowed yourself to grab that. Okay, I've talked long enough.
Shannon, if you want to unmute and tell us what your thoughts are. I muted because
I don't know why it keeps muting me.
It's me. I'm muting it because when we have
Oh,
two
sorry.
mics on, it was echoing outside of the thing, and so I would just mute.
Oh, thank you.
Talking.
Sorry, I didn't know I was on mute again. My dogs are probably going to join me. So I was just thinking, I believe 100% what you were saying. That is such a good reminder to just go back to basics and tell her what I know to, be true. And I don't feel like I'm on, well, I am on a faith journey. But it's just a good reminder to tell her what I know, and that's great. The thing that I was trying to post is that I actually had a really good conversation with her recently, and I just I expressed well, I kind of just asked her how is she doing, and and talked about her job situation and any concerns and stuff. And after that, I swear that could be the reason why she's come out of her shell and acted like typical Brie. And I was like, So I do think that if I pour into her more, and it's not all me, I know she has to do her own journey, that's going to help her in many ways, especially what you were saying. So for sure.
There's so much here that's beautiful. So much here that has been said that is just fantastic. And I, as a mom of teens and stuff, I've learned that, Shannon, what you just said, I think is the magic thing for you. And whatever comes through for you on your notes is what's right for you. We can share all sorts of context and skills and principles, but really lean into your heart and be like, all right, me, myself, and I, let's have a committee meeting together. And Missy calls it getting into your body. It's like, I kind of think of it as me, myself, and I coming back into a little committee room together and being like, all right, what is it that I know? Get back into my knowing and my trust and that connection with our kids. It's funny how we have fears because we care so much. We have fears as parents because we care so dang much. There's so much love there that it feels almost fragile. And we sit in it, we're like, I could do this wrong. And one of the most empowering things is when I learned, I don't think I can do this wrong. The world will put up all sorts of labels, but I care so much. I just don't think that what I always think it's the good moms that stress so hard about their kids. Do you know what I mean? So I was like, you know what? If I'm doing this from my heart of hearts and I'm trying my best, it is going to be enough. And when you said I had this conversation, all of a sudden, was there magic words in that conversation? Was it the magic, script from some amazing parenting book? Probably not. It was just her and you seeing each other and having a conversation. And she all of a sudden said, I'm grounded. I'm grounded here. And then she felt safe for the next however many days. It's amazing that power we have when we're just there. We really are present emotionally just for a moment. It doesn't have to have magical words or special skills. And so just being more in you, and then you'll feel those moments like, oh, talk to your daughter today. Today's a good day to go do that. It'll always be right. That's been my experience. It's always the right thing. There might be one little moment, but that's all they needed that day. You can go, oh, Okay. This is a beautiful discussion. We didn't have another one in the chat, but I also felt to ask if anyone in this group, client, non-client, past client, current client, whatever, if you've experienced a win. We call those wins, moments where you're like Shannon just beautifully shared. You know, ladies, I don't know all the things, but I do know I had this conversation and something changed. What could that have been, right? What kind of wins are you ladies having in life where you're like, I did do this different. Something happened here, something there. Like, yeah. Just read the chat. Like Amy put a really good comment in there. But anyone want to come off and share a moment where they were like, hey, because I was present, because I was within myself, because I trusted by knowing I can testify. Because Jesus says from the mouth of 2 or 3, we start to learn the threads of truth. So if someone else on this call is like, yes, I can testify to this principle, I would love to hear it. I would love to hear. Elizabeth. Can you come off mute?
Can you see me? Can you hear me? Okay. Yeah, for some reason this app is super slow for me. So when I try to go from the chat back to the video, it just is like takes forever. Anyway, yesterday I was feeling just super really stressed and activated, and I had to keep stopping. And that was really frustrating, and my girls are kind of having fits too. But I just laid on the floor. I think we were listening to music, not sure, but and my girls like started piling stuff on top of me. Blankets and pillows and toys. Hang on. And Kaya says, "You're beautiful," and Kit says, "You're a house." And Aurora came over and was like she was putting her face on my face and like giving me kisses, and I was like, sometimes I feel frustrated when I try to stop and be still when I'm feeling kind of crazy. Because sometimes they just want to like flop on me. Hang on, Kit. I'm talking to someone.
What are you doing in that pot?
But anyway, they actually like came and tried to give me love while I did that. Which is hard because, like I said, sometimes I'll try to sit down and do a meditation and they can hear it too, but they are like, no, don't do that. But sometimes, like another moment yesterday, I was just standing and one of my girls came over and gave me a hug. And I've been kind of struggling with that, with connection, with actually like stopping and giving hugs and giving love. Because sometimes when I do that, they don't want it. So that was something I experienced yesterday that was kind of cool.
Our awareness is like, you were so aware in that moment. Like, oh, they're giving me all this love and I'm having this resistance. Your awareness was so good there. So beautiful. So good. Other thoughts, other experiences?
Robin, do you want to talk about the fall spots or EMH at all? Well, we have some time.
Not particularly, actually, but I'll do the giveaway in a couple of minutes. Amy, what would you like to share?
So I feel like I posted in the circle group asking for prayers yesterday, which thank you for those of you that supported me and held me in that. But I feel like I've had a lot of victories over the past 2 weeks. It's been really raw and hard, but it's been really good to have some really deep, honest conversations with my husband and with myself, just about things that we're working through and have kind of been working through for a long time, but it's just kind of getting to the point that we've just realized if we continue in the way that we are currently doing things in our relationship, that it's not going to work. And so we need to figure out what we're going to do to adjust. We need to be honest with ourselves about what we really want in our relationship going forward. he's gone back to therapy. We're going to go back to therapy together, which we haven't done in a long time. And like, we're just stepping into really working through things, and it's raw and it's hard. And I would love for like it to be fixed right away, but I'm leaning into just, this isn't a decision or like an experience that can have an answer in a short period of time. So I'm really just trying to lean into letting it be a longer process and just trying to take it a day at a time, and whatever our connection level is at or whatever we're wanting or needing, and just being really honest with what I do and don't want, and allowing him to do the same. And so I feel like those have been some really good wins for me to just lean in, trust in the moment. And I'm really trying to let myself feel. And I was grateful for Cherie's class last week, because that triggered for me the emotions that I had not been feeling, because at the beginning I just kind of was like, we're fine, we're good. Nope, we're not. So anyway, just, I feel like it's a good, that I'm letting myself just, so yeah.
That's a huge win. I know a big piece of Amy's journey was learning about flow. What does it look like to let things flow and not place a label or a decision on something? And so to have you be like, oh, we're going through another step on figuring out what our season together is and what it is and what it isn't, and not putting a label on it. I think that's so wise. That's beautiful. So good. It's hard though, right? I mean, if we've identified that kind of a procedure hasn't been what we've thought our life would hold, it feels heavy, right? But you've been through the EMX, you're like, okay, this doesn't have to be what this is. And I hear you saying that. You're like, I understand that it's the new pattern. So the ego comes up and says, but we should be wounded. We should be scared and sad and all the things, because that was your old pattern. And the new pattern says, but it could be different. Lots of couples do things a whole different way than maybe I was ever modeled or told. It could be different. Let me just flow with this. Let me just see. If my innards are telling me to go to therapy, great. Let's go. And not labeling what the result is. So wise. So wise. Beautiful, beautiful. Let's do this giveaway. So I have Amy and Ariel and Liz. Make sure I get all the names to make sure we got everybody on here. Kim and Natalie. I think that was all. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 6. You're welcome, Amy. Okay, so what I have is on my phone is one of those apps where you put the name in for a drawing and it like goes doo, 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 doo. Back in the Facebook Zoom days, I used to hook up my phone and you could see it, but I'm too scared to try to see if I can get my phone on here. So I'm just going to do it on my app. All right, so here we go. Drum roll. The winner is Ariel. I don't know if she's on. Ariel Holt. She's been on a couple of our calls though in the past. Do you guys know whose coach she's assigned to? It might be me. I didn't go look. Congratulations, Ariel. Ariel? I don't know. Maybe it's Ariel. I'm just over here being in Disneyland, and Ariel was my favorite princess, so I'm saying it that way, but it is E-L-L-E. So that'll be really fun. So we'll get in contact with you, and she found her way to the app and she's in here. I verified all that. So congratulations. This is a beautiful open coaching call. Sometimes we have lots and lots that we go over. Sometimes we have just a couple questions and we go deep. One of the things that you can look forward to being in this space is how vulnerable that we get. I recognize you may get on this call and be like, whoa, those are really personal questions, or that was really heavy. And you'll learn through the Elevated Mother process why it does feel heavy sometimes. It'll feel heavy for you on one thing, and it doesn't feel heavy for someone on another. And we learn not to judge that. That doesn't mean you're doing something wrong and they're doing something right. It's all in your own thought process, how you have decided things in the world. And the Elevated Mother experience helps you dissect that to find out, what do I think? What is my pattern of why that's heavy for me and not for someone else? Where can I go to release some of those things and bring them about? So we've got our relationship specialists, we have our trauma and energy people, we have our identity specialists, we've got our connection specialists. Like, we've got so many layers that we've learned over the years that our clients have and get to work with us in. And it's a beautiful, sacred space. We will see you guys next month. We're going to be focusing on our new program, EMH, so you can watch for classes on that. But we'll have a big announcement that will go out in the app so that you can get prepared for some of the messages that we'll have on our Friday calls through September. Have an amazing, amazing weekend. Happy Labor Day.